Hello and welcome to the Due for a Win podcast. We're going to talk about the gambling industry, gambling in general, and mainly focus on Atlantic City since we're over here on the East Coast. My name is Craig Stone. I live in New Jersey. With me is Kyle Askin. He is in Maryland. So this is our first episode. Thank you for listening. We're going to talk about a little bit about our most recent trip to Atlantic City, some of the latest news with Showboat and Revel, and a more macro view at some of the monthly revenues. So, Kyle, go ahead and introduce yourself.
That was pretty enlightening. I don't know what I can say to add on to that.
Howdy, it's Wednesday, June 5th, 2019, and this is episode 100 of Due for a Win, the Atlantic City and Casino Biz podcast. I'm Kyle Askin, joined, as always, by Craig Stone. What's good, Craig?
100, a black chip episode.
Unbelievable. I can still remember when we did the green chip episode like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's really weird to go back and look at some old episode reports and think, this was like 70 episodes ago? That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember anything from that time other than calling episode 25 the green chip episode.
Yeah, it's weird.
Ooh, we're not going to have another colored chip episode until 500, so...
Is that the pumpkins?
It's going to be a while. No, pumpkin's 1,000, man. Come on.
I never get
Do
those
you even
chips.
gamble? Yeah.
No, not really.
That's like purple is 500. Yeah, orange is 1,000.
Yes, I have had a purple
Chocolate
chip.
chips are 5,000.
I've had the purple chip at Hard Rock from the craps table. I think that's the only time I've ever had a purple chip, which really tells you that I do not gamble. And I've never had a pumpkin.
Well, and yet here we are, 100 episodes later.
100
despite all that.
episodes of talking about me not gambling.
Well, we're gonna talk a bit more about episode 100 and what it means a little later. But before we do that, do you want to tell us about what happened in the year 2000, other than the world ending?
Bally's Park Place, which is what we still call it, became Bally's Atlantic City. How does that make you feel? Triggered?
That was a microaggression against me. Please refrain from doing that.
Apparently it's not PC to say these things. No, I mean, I guess I sort of use them interchangeably, because I talk about, like, I feel like we both do talk about Park Place as the main Bally's casino, and then Wild Wild West as Wild Wild West.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Whereas, like, Bally's Atlantic City is this all-encompassing thing of both of them.
There's nothing I could care less about than that.
So the other thing that you might care about is UFC 28 was held at the Taj Mahal on November 17th, the first UFC fight ever in Atlantic City.
Yeah, I also don't really care about that. That is like pre-Zuffa UFC. It was before I was even remotely into MMA, so I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I looked at the card before the show, and I was like, ooh, that's a bad card.
Randy Couture, man.
Yeah, man. Kevin Randleman.
I know one name on this entire list. That's Randy Couture.
There was definitely some big names. Matt Hughes' twin brother fought on the card. Only UFC fight.
Well, you've lost me.
Yeah.
So, 1900, anything good happen? You're supposed to save us on the 1900 stuff.
So the Royal Palace Hotel was built at the very northern tip of Pacific Avenue, where the boardwalk curves around in towards Absecon Inlet. The Royal Palace's heyday came in the 1920s, when amidst the atmosphere of Prohibition, it became a notable speakeasy, according to AtlanticCityExperience.org.
Yeah, that's the library's website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other thing is that the city officially adopted segregation, and that's a big downer. I mean, it's interesting, though, that prior to 1900, the schools and beaches and everything else were not segregated, which is unique.
Unfortunately, I'm not like as up on my New Jersey state history as I should be, but I know notable New Jersey native. Well, he's actually not native, but notable New Jersey politician Woodrow Wilson was governor at some point of the state of New Jersey, and he was also a notable racist and was the person who Washington, D.C. was not segregated before he became president, and then he rammed that through. So,
wow.
and
Interesting stuff.
segregated the entire federal government while
Well,
he was
that's-
president.
Some seriously crappy stuff to talk about on episode 100, but
So I'm not sure if he was in, what he was doing in New Jersey then, but I know he was governor before he was president. So
yeah. So if you're interested in this stuff, the history of Atlantic City and in this aspect of it, there's a book called The North Side by the same guy who wrote Boardwalk Empire that covers this in depth, because there's a really interesting history of Atlantic City just relating to the fact that there are a bunch of African-American workers coming in and finding jobs in these houses that housed people who came to the beach, and it became a very large African-American community. And so this obviously is an important part of that, but I recommend checking out that book.
all right. So I guess on a more positive note than segregation,
Not hard to do.
we're going to Atlantic City in 8 days.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, 9 days for you, I
from
guess.
when we're recording. Yeah, 8 days for you. Spoilers. So I'm calling this our episode 100 victory lap trip.
Yeah,
I think that's worthwhile. Who knows? Maybe there will be an episode 101 before that.
maybe not.
Possible.
Who knows?
So
We need to leave you in suspense, and ourselves as well.
we've already mentioned this. So when the heck are you getting there?
Okay, so the first bit of news, which is news for you, I texted Taylor today, our friend of the podcast,
Uh huh.
and I'm like, yo, dude, are you coming to Atlantic City with us? And he's like, yeah, everything sounds great. So me and Taylor are going to head up Thursday night,
Awesome.
the 13th, and we'll be leaving on Saturday morning, the 15th.
So how late on Thursday do you expect to get there?
I would guess like 11.
Okay, that's pretty late.
Yeah. I'm going to probably be putting kids down before leaving.
So the group meet up 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, official Friday, Thursday night really, at some craps table at resorts. I think that's the way
Yeah.
to do it.
Maybe.
I won't be there
Wouldn't be
yet.
surprised. Hopefully I will be sleeping then. But
You're gonna do the
the
mark from You Can Bet on That. Just get in, go to bed.
I think I'm going to get in and go to bed. I think that's the plan.
It's not gonna happen, dude. There's no
Hey,
way.
man. I'm going to kill my daily average if I bet for like an hour when I get there. I think I can just hold back and go to sleep.
So wait, are you booked somewhere?
No.
So you're killing your daily average nowhere because you're sleeping on the boardwalk.
I will probably book somewhere. I have comps at... I think we talked about it for Thursday and Friday. I have comps at every casino in Atlantic City except for Borgata or Golden Nugget, but we will definitely be on the boardwalk, because where are you staying when you get in on Friday?
I am staying at the Hard Rock, comped, which was very surprising to me. So my mailers say that I only get Sunday through Thursday. And then when I logged into their not very useful website, there was something very not clickable that said 2 free nights anytime. It didn't say 7 nights a week. It just said anytime. And I was like, this probably just means Sunday to Thursday. So I called up. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I saw this and I was like, I can't wait until tomorrow to call.
Of course not.
So I called up and they were like, sure, yeah, you're comped. And I'm excited because I love Hard Rock. So I'm interested to see what room I get, and hopefully I continue to love it. And so
have you ever stayed in the South Tower? North Tower?
yeah, I can't remember which. I think it's the North Tower because the North Tower would be the old.
The North Tower is the old tower, right? The North Tower is the old tower that they totally redid. That's where I've stayed every trip, I believe.
Except I think the Chairman Tower is is north of it.
Atlantic City experts, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I have not stayed in the Chairman Tower.
The tower I've stayed in is on the north side of the building, certainly. They might both be on the north side of the building. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
Oh, well. Good podcast.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We have not improved over 100 episodes. We'll get better in the next 100, we promise.
So anyways, yeah, I don't know where I'm staying. In terms of within the hotel, it's just a room. They didn't specify. So we'll find out when I get there. I've liked my rooms in the tower, whichever tower it is.
Yeah, given that you're staying in Hard Rock, I'm going to guess that Taylor and I are going to stay in 2 out of the 3 of Resorts Hard Rock and Ocean.
So you're going to book 2 and you'll each have your own room?
Yeah, why not?
Is that the plan? I mean, you could stay in the same place and then
or
centralize.
I can book a free room somewhere. I mean, not free, $20 resort fee or whatever.
Right. So
That's fine.
I mean, the obvious... So you have a comp room at Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you should book Ocean and Resorts.
So you get all 3 properties?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I just book Ocean and Hard Rock then? Or Hard Rock and
Oh, yeah,
Resorts?
you get Hard Rock. Yes, you should do Hard Rock and Ocean. Correct.
But Resorts, Craig, you know how I feel about Resorts.
Resorts is connected through the walkway.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge merit. I mean,
That walkway that is like 120 degrees when you walk through it and is like deeply unpleasant to be in. But yeah.
You're only in it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's like 15 feet.
So what are you even like, have you even thought about it beyond just the fact that you have all these options available? Does Taylor get a vote?
No. He will go where I put him, and he will be happy about it.
Awesome.
Or he will pay for his own room.
Sounds good.
I think if I had to guess, I'm probably going to book Hard Rock, and I don't really want to gamble at Ocean, though. Maybe I'll just book Hard Rock and Resorts.
Yeah, so the advantage of not booking Ocean is that then, like...
I don't have to go to Ocean.
Right. I mean, are you going to feel obligated to gamble at both places that you have rooms?
Probably.
I see. I would burn one. I would be like, screw it. Just burn it.
Would you? You say that every time, and yet you're like, I need to put like this $5 bill in this machine so that they like me.
Yes, because that's what makes them like you. $5 in a 25-cent video poker machine.
Yes.
That pays $50 per
while
tier
you
credit
order like 12 drinks during that time because you pick the machine right next to the waitresses.
Awesome. That is what I like.
Good old Caesars.
So, what else about the trip? Taylor is coming, confirmed.
Taylor is coming.
We've discussed your booking options.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you have on the checklist? I know you to have a checklist. So what's
Yes, if nothing else, over this time we've learned that I'm a man who keeps a strict schedule, like that one guy who always posts his schedule when he goes to Vegas.
Yeah, color-coded and everything.
Yes. No, I have nothing. I'm going to gamble and have fun.
We talked about revisiting the wings at Piccalilli.
Piccalilli's great. I will absolutely do that.
I think there are a couple of things on the Orange Loop that we need to hit. Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall we haven't been to yet. I would totally be up for dinner at Bore. I think that's an option. I can tell you're very into all of this. I still haven't gotten an Ocean card, but if you're not going to stay at Ocean and gamble at Ocean, there's no reason for me to do my first gambling day.
I kind of wonder what Taylor would like. Taylor might like to stay at Ocean because it's nice.
It's a good point. Would he
maybe
Hard Rock? Is that like totally not his vibe?
I mean, I think he would be fine with it, but I suspect Taylor would like Ocean better.
I mean, everyone would like the room at Ocean better. That's just objective.
I like Hard Rock, though.
I do like Hard Rock
and Resorts.
If you like gambling, go to Resorts.
I think, that sums it up basically perfectly.
Like, if you're going to be up until 2 a.m. playing blackjack and, like, craps and stuff, like, they'll probably have $10 craps. They're going to have, like, stand on soft 17 blackjack. Assuming that's still there. I haven't confirmed, but
yeah,
going to run with that.
You have a question? Are we going to go to the Marina at all?
Yeah, what do you think?
I have $100 free play at Borgata.
That's worth it.
It's, like, kind of a lot, right?
It's a lot. Yeah, we should go. I think I have free play entirely surrounding the dates, like 12th, 13th, 16th, and I don't have the 14th or 15th.
It could be, if it's the 13th, maybe me and Taylor will stop at Borgata on the way in and gamble for a few hours there, and then we can
that's fine.
Not have to worry about the Marina after that. And I don't care about burning Borgata, because A, I'm not staying there, and B, they don't comp me anyway. So
it's a good point. So how should people find us to shower us with congratulations for our 100th episode when we're in Atlantic City?
Follow the Do For A Win Twitter. I'm sure once you get there, you'll start posting where we are.
Yeah. No planned meetup time or anything like that. I think we're trying to bounce around a lot and see a bunch of stuff because we haven't been in too long. It's been like over 6 months, which is ridiculous. So hopefully we fit in a ton of stuff. I'm excited about seeing some Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall stuff. But
yeah.
Orange Loop in general.
I'm excited about going to Piccalilli and not going to Irish Pub.
Oh, so I thought about it. So I'm probably going to leave much later than you on
Saturday.
So what you think? You think you're just going to like eat breakfast?
I'm going to leave at like 10 or 11. I'm going to eat breakfast and get out.
Gilchrist?
Yeah, we can do Gilchrist Saturday.
Is that the plan? I mean, there's other breakfast options, but
no, we can go to the Gardner's Basin and do Gilchrist.
So one option, Gardner's Basin. I was going to say one option would be to go to the Tropicana one, and then I could spend a couple hours at Tropicana and then get lunch.
Why would you do that? Oh, at Do For A Win sponsor, Chickies and Pete's,
and then at home. But what I would rather do is come back and go to lunch at the Irish Pub and then go home.
Right.
Yes.
Chickies and Pete's, the only restaurant in Atlantic City worse than the Irish pub. Chickies and Pete's.
Food-wise, that's 100% not true.
That I will agree. That is definitely not a true statement. There is nothing worse than the Irish pub.
I hate how much you slander both the Irish pub and Chickies and Pete's on this podcast. 100 episodes now of insulting my favorite places.
I certainly hadn't been to the Irish pub before the podcast started, so.
No, I mean, we were probably, dozens of episodes in before we went to either of those places.
Yeah.
So, that's the trip. I'll probably leave, I don't know, I think I'm going to take like a 1 o'clock bus. I think that's what I'm looking at. 1 p.m.
Oh, so when you say way later than us, you mean...
like 3 hours.
Marginally later than us.
That's
Yeah,
hours.
we'll just leave straight from breakfast, wherever that is.
Yeah, so I'm going to be able to
I'll
get
be like,
lunch.
Craig, I'm not driving you back. You need to take an Uber, because I don't want to go 2 minutes out of my way from here.
I believe you. So that's it. That's the trip. Maybe we'll have more before. Maybe we won't. It's not established. So this is episode 100. Do we have stuff to talk about? What's the plan here? We had no plan for so long.
If you want to reach out to us or anyone in our Facebook group,
amazing. That'd be great.
Yeah, nailed it.
It's over.
Shut it down.
We'll see you in Atlantic City in a week.
All right, yeah. So we started this and we looked it up right before the episode started. It was November 21st, 2015 was our first episode. So I had a 1 month old then. You just turned 1 month old. You had like an 8 month old?
Yeah. It seems impossible because those kids are like old now.
Yeah.
They walk, they talk.
Oh,
they
yeah.
can play sports and stuff.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. So yeah, yours is over 4 and mine is 3.5, 3 3/4. Yeah.
And then we also have another kid, each of us.
Yeah.
We have 2 kids.
That's a lot of kids. So when we started, Atlantic City had 8 casinos. So no Revel, but yes to Hard Rock, although it wasn't called that. It was the Taj. Although you say it was the first month that the Taj had AC's lowest gaming revenue.
Yeah, so in episode 1, we talked about Taj in October of 2015 having, for the first time ever, come in dead last in gaming revenue for a month since it opened in 1990. So not great for the Trump Taj Mahal. And it is kind of weird. Like, we launched the podcast after there was a 22-month span where 4 casinos closed, and then a 5th later. So Atlantic Club, January 2014, Showboat, August 2014, Revel and Trump Plaza, September 2014. What a horrible 3 weeks or so, by the way, with Showboat, Revel, and Trump Plaza all closing.
Why would
one after
Showboat
another.
close in August? Why wouldn't they wait until after Labor Day at least?
So they closed on August 31st.
Okay.
And my assumption is there's some monthly reason for that.
Good enough, I guess. All right. Fair enough.
But I think Revel closed on like September 1st. It might have been back-to-back days. It was very tight together. And then Trump Plaza closed like...
It was like, the middle end
September.
of the month, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was dire straits. And we, had a whole lot of episodes where we talked about, is more stuff going to close? The state takeover, Atlantic City, the city going bankrupt, and that kind of stuff. So
And yet...
we're out of the weeds on all that, I think, maybe a little bit.
I mean, I don't... So we still talk about, is this casino going to close? We still have the city, which cannot run itself. It is the state that's running it.
It feels more stable in my mind in that it's just the situation that it's been in since we started the podcast now. Whether that's actually stability or not is unclear.
So in episode 1, the state hadn't taken over yet. It was
Right,
just
no,
threatened. Because I remember talking about that a lot in the early episodes, way more than anybody other than us cared about.
Right. I mean, they did have a ton of oversight already, the state.
Yeah.
So the takeover was kind of just an extension of that. But anyways, what else?
So why don't you talk to me about what we talked about in episode 1?
So a few things that were at the tops of our minds were T Street at the playground, which was something I was super excited about before it opened, but it had already opened and we had seen it and it was a total flop. So we ragged on it in episode 1. And the news before episode 1 was that it was going under new management, which was maybe going to revive it. And we were excited, or at least I was excited, about the possibility that they were actually going to do what Bart Blatstein said T Street was going to be. Which, if you don't know what T Street was, it's the second floor at the playground, and it was
The
gonna
first floor.
Well, it's going to be a bunch of music venues / bars to look like Memphis, and you would be able to just like pop in and out of each venue and grab a drink, and it was going to be really cool, and there was going to be tons of live music every night. And I think when a ton of people don't show up right away, you know, you can't book a bunch of music acts and keep all those places open. So it was just closed all the time.
The world's largest champagne cork pop-in.
Oh yes, they did that on.
So, can't take that away from them.
I think we talked about that on episode 2, that they were planning for the Guinness World Record, which they nailed. Yeah. They got it. World's largest simultaneous champagne popping.
So since you are a responsible adult and listened to at least some of episode 1 before this episode, what else did we talk about?
Well, I mean, about the playground, one of the things we noticed was that when we went to see T Street, our beloved Trinity Irish pub was apparently resurrected in T Street, and then we noticed, no, they just took the sign from Trinity and put it on one of the generic bars in T Street, and that was when we kind of came to the horrible realization that they were just taking whatever signage they could get their hands on and putting it up for cheap, and that this was all being done as half-assedly as possible.
And yet it probably still took us another 50 episodes to realize the real plans that Bart Bunting has for everything in Atlantic City.
I don't think 50, but I think we still held out hope for a while. Speaking of Blatstein, he owned Showboat. It was not open, and he said he was not rushing it to open Showboat. So,
oh boy, but how disappointing was it when it finally opened?
Yeah. Oh boy.
It was worth the wait.
Yeah, I mean, that was like 20 plus episodes in, I think, where we talked about the Showboat finally opening, and, you know, everybody go check out Showboat, and then the next episode being like, maybe don't check out Showboat.
Oh, I could book the Showboat.
Just, it would be
oh boy,
total spite booking. Put Taylor in the Showboat.
Yeah.
You have to pay for it.
Oh, I could put Taylor in the Irish pub.
Oh, done. I'll pay half that bill.
Somehow I think if I did that, I would be the one staying in the Irish pub. I suspect Taylor would balk at that. I mean, of our group of friends, I have, by like a pretty huge margin, the lowest standards, right? Like, I'm the only one that would tolerate that.
Yes, probably. We should just book it separately and also have other rooms just to go see it. Although we could probably just walk in and be like, hey, can we see a room?
Well, what's the hourly rate?
Good point.
Good point.
You and I walk in together.
Yes.
3 of us, you, me, and Taylor,
with
walk in together.
Matching Due for a Win t-shirts.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyways. So the other ownership thing is that Glenn Straub already owned the Rebel and was floating such ideas as high-speed catamarans from New York City and a school for geniuses for what he might do with this shiny new $2 billion structure that he had acquired. He had not yet combined the energy company, the structure, the Rebel.
Yep, I remember talking about that when it happened on the episode.
Yeah, that was
podcast
2 or 3, I think. It was pretty quick, and that was the big value add that he brought to that property. And
for sure. I mean, that was
turned a profit. That guy.
Yeah, it was a very good move.
Oh well, we also talked about a trip report for right before you had a baby. Mm-hmm. That was at that point 3 months old. Because it was in August. So we talked about such things as Harris showers don't drain, slot golf.
So who went on that trip? It was me, you, Taylor, Dave, and Andy? Is that right?
Sounds right. Yeah, we played some slot golf at the Golden Nugget. I think it was the first time we ever went to the Golden Nugget. So what I wanted to ask, since this was 3.5 years ago, and we've given a little glimpse at what was happening 3.5 years ago in Atlantic City, which feels like forever, 3.5 years from now would be December of 2022. So do you have anything that you think will happen or you would like to see at the presumed episode 200 of Due for a Win in December of 2022?
So I'm going to throw you for a bit of a loop here. I have another proposition for you.
Denied.
I have a long list of things that I think maybe could or couldn't happen. We can try to assign some values for them. Maybe we can get a little action going on some of them if one of us feels the value assigned is ridiculous.
Okay. I don't even remember what existing action we have on other things.
Yeah, no one knows. But perhaps we can write it down. You have a less clacky keyboard, so you can make note of our action somewhere.
Okay.
So, all right. Here's some things. So I can do the first one, and then you can give me one of yours, and we'll see. So what are the odds that there will be legalized drinking on the boardwalk by the time episode 200 comes out? Which maybe it's probably going to be a little after December 2022. We were pumping out the episodes pretty quick early on.
Okay, so I had this very high in my list of things that I wanted.
Oh, you had it.
I said 80%.
Yeah. I said 66, but I think we're in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, I think
you're saying 4 and 5. I'm saying 2 and 3. So
yeah, I think that's good.
All right. Yeah. No action there. Okay, you give me one.
I say Hard Rock and Ocean both thriving, which I think is a general thing.
That's not measurable.
Yeah. Okay, let's skip that one. Trump Plaza demolished and replaced by something better.
I had this. I had the Trump Plaza and the Atlantic Club being demolished as two separate things. So
you can't demolish the Atlantic Club.
Well,
you refurbish that to its former glory, Kyle.
The Trump Plaza had a 75% chance that it was demolished. I did not consider whether something new would be there or if it was just still an empty lot, which I think is a possibility that must be looked at.
I think an empty lot maybe could be looked at as an improvement over the current structure of Trump Plaza. I said 95% for Trump Plaza being demolished.
I mean, that's pretty big. Are you going to give me 20 to 1 odds?
No. 20 to 1
so
odds.
You don't think it's 95%? No, 19 to 1.
I would give you 10 to 1.
That's literally half of the confidence that you originally had.
That's what?
Yeah, sure.
80% or something?
All right. I will give you $1 if Trump Plaza is demolished, and you'll give me 10 if it's not.
Yeah, Kyle gets 10 if still standing.
Yep.
Craig gets $1.
Episode 200. Yep. Yep. Done. First bet booked. Okay, how about the Atlantic Club? What are the odds? Well, we can break this down to a few different. So
I don't think Atlantic Club's getting demolished.
You don't think it's getting demolished? I had 25%. So
yeah, I was going to say 20.
So? Okay.
So I don't think there's any action there.
But so do you think it will be part of Stockton? I know they've made some overtures in the past. I know we've had a few, hoteliers kicking the tires. Or do you think it's just still going to be empty and sitting there on the boardwalk in 4 years?
I think Stockton is the most likely, but I don't think I have it as beating out the field. So I don't think it's like over 50% that it's going to be Stockton. I would say it's like 30% Stockton, and then like, I don't know, 10% a bunch of other crap. And then like 0.01% a casino.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. What about you? I feel like it's hard to take action on this.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any action to be taken here. I think I would take the field over Stockton having it for sure. But I think Stockton is the largest individual like percentage for likelihood to buy it. Yeah. So I think that's sounds good and right. I would say it's like maybe like 33% that Stockton buys it, like maybe 40-something% that like somebody that's not Stockton buys it, and 20% that it's just this depressing thing that's just sitting there and still abandoned.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, because if Stockton bought it, they would probably tear it down, right?
Not necessarily. They could retrofit it. The rooms are big. They could do something to make it some dorms.
Maybe.
I know they are just built a bunch of dorms there, so how many dorms they really need?
Yeah, don't know.
Let's go back to my Hard Rock and Ocean thriving thing.
Okay.
I'm going to say...
Pick that where they're going to be on the list, I guess.
So I think Hard Rock number 2, but I think I have to go further than that because I think it has to be. I think it has to be number 2, but also I don't know how to put a number on it because I don't have the numbers right in front of me of what everything is.
I mean, like even number 2 though, that's a bit of a surprise given, Trops really just surge during the whole time we've been doing this, and
that's true.
Harris still make some money too.
So I'll just say Hard Rock number 2 for the entire year for the most part of 2022.
Okay.
And Ocean regularly breaking $20 million a month.
Like in the summer, or
we'll say a $250 million a year.
Okay, so I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me. We can pull it up. We can see.
Yeah, like where would that rank it? Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, so for comparison, the two closest to that, Caesars had a $280 million year in 2018, and Gold Nugget had a $220 million year.
Yeah, I like 250. Okay, so 250 in 2022 for.
Okay. I think that's doable. I think that's still pretty disappointing for them, for the
Yeah.
property, but...
Do you have percentages on Hard Rock number 2? What do you think?
So Hard Rock, okay. So in 2018, number 1 was Borgata, $710 million. And number 2 was Tropicana with $339 million.
What a huge
so
drop.
about it's like 45% of Borgata's.
Just amazing. So that's why I said you got to get a little more specific than that. But I don't think anybody.
So what do you think? Like 400, 450, something like that?
I don't. I would go really low on it getting to 400, having $400 million. I think that should be what they're hoping for.
So in 2022,
let's say 350.
how about this? Well, let's do $5 on an over/under. We'll make it 375. I'll take the over.
You're gonna take the over on 375 for Hard Rock.
I'm a nice guy, Greg.
Wow. Okay.
I think they can do it. I might be an idiot.
Yeah, you're an idiot. So, what about Ocean? What's the over/under on Ocean? 250? Do you like that one? Do you like the over/under?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I would go over on 250 if you want.
Yeah,
And should we up it?
maybe. So let me
275?
look at what they've done this year so far.
It's bad. $15 million a month.
Yeah, that's real bad. That's real bad. Oh boy.
I mean, it could also just be closed. Like, closed is like 25%.
Yeah. Wow. I would probably also take the over on 250.
It's a tough
I'll let you pick it. I'll let you pick it for 280.
280.
You can pick either. I'll take the other side.
I'll be bullish. I'll say over.
I think it's possible. I think it's a reasonable bet. All right.
So I have $5 on the over of Ocean, making $280 million in 2022.
And this is in the year 2022,
This is
regardless of when episode 200 happens.
That's a horrible bet. There's just no way that's happening.
They had $90 million in their full 6 months in 2018. So.
Like, there could be 4 casinos in Atlantic City, and they're not doing this. Anyways.
That's fine. I had a horrible Hard Rock bet, so we're even.
We're both, yeah.
We're both idiots. How about you're going to like this one a lot.
Let's hear it.
The odds that there's a real tenant in that Toll Brothers building on the boardwalk. I said 33%.
I'm going to go way higher. I'm going to go 66%.
What?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
All right. $5. You say yes, I say no. Done.
Okay.
All right. I can't believe... I mean, that thing's been empty for, 5 years? And just a real tenant means that whatever crappy seasonal crap doesn't count. I will say it will be much better for you if Trump Plaza gets demolished and they kind of extend the the shops all the way to the boardwalk, because that would make it a much more attractive place to rent.
Although some stuff in the shops, like the shops, Tanger outlets, stuff's closing.
Yeah, I hear they're not doing great.
Yeah. I don't know how much of that is just like, who knows if a bunch of stuff signed leases around the same time and they're running out, and now stuff will just replace it quickly or whatever. I don't know anything about retail. You're the retail guy.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, I'm a real estate guy, but...
Come on, retail guy.
Yes, I believe they all signed leases at the same time.
We're in podcast with Craig and retail guy. Anyways.
All right, you have anything else you want to talk about? I've got a few more.
Oh, I've got some more.
Yeah, go for it.
Major renovation of the Caesars casino floor.
So, like, what is major?
Doesn't look like it looks now. Bally's casino renovation would not qualify.
Yeah, like, because Bally's, they're always like, well, we've done a major renovation. We've replaced the carpets, which, by the way, I have to say that Bally's carpet is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
The Wild West carpet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Wild West carpet is incredible.
The one you sent me in Twitter?
Just art. Pure art. I'm going to go inspect it. I'm going to take pictures of it and use it as my phone background, I think. It's so good. Like some cowboy hats and horses and chips, chips. It's fantastic.
I don't think we can bet on it, given that major doesn't really mean anything, but...
Like a $10+ million renovation?
It should happen, probably. I don't know, like 50%.
Yeah, I said 50-50.
Yeah. I mean, if they were trying, they would do it, but the question is, are they trying?
Yeah, I think we'll get a lot of clarity once Tony Rodeo comes in and starts to make some statements about what their direction is in Atlantic City.
They should try at Caesars, right? It would seem to be ridiculous choice not to, but who knows?
Yeah, so I really like the fact that it's Tony Rodeo and he has history in Atlantic City, and maybe he would look at this and say, like, okay, I've got a very clear vision for what works here and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. And, like, Caesars is in, it works. Bally's, I don't know. Maybe we'll try some things and see how it goes, and if not, we'll reassess. But anyways, so the other thing I had was filling out the dead space at the Wild Wild West.
Oh, like,
which they're starting to do.
You mean, like, totally full? Like, no more dividers anywhere?
Yes, yeah. But I'm not confident.
50% maybe? Probably less.
I said 40.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like 33.
Okay.
I think we're on the same page.
No action on either of those, but...
No action.
Definitely something I would very much like to see. Because it's funny going back to the first episode, one of the items was Wild Wild West is changing and not for the better. And, you know, it was all of the sort of, like, taking out games and stuff like that. But, like, when we started going... I spent a ton of time at Wild Wild West.
Yeah. When we started going, it was no dividers, no nothing. It was full of games, full of table games.
Yeah, just that whole winding area was completely bustling. There was $5 tables. It was
I don't know about bustling.
Crowded.
Believe me, there's plenty of times that when you like turn that corner to the left, it's like, oh, it's pretty empty back
here.
I mean,
if you went back to like the Kino Lounge and stuff, which I still loved that area.
Virginia City buffet.
Yeah, and there were like dedicated rooms for video poker. Oh man, I loved the old Wild West. Part of it's just like that was my first real taste of like casino town time, and it's really also like all the tackiness and stuff I enjoy. I think we've talked about a lot, but oh man, I would love a return to Wild Wild West. Somebody should make like virtual reality Wild Wild West in 1999, and I can go back and relive it.
All right. So, what are the odds, Craig, that the Bally's Park Place is open and operating in episode 200?
Oh, it's so tough. I think 60%. I think higher than that. I think 75%.
Wow, you think so?
Yeah, I've been surprised by. Well, I don't know. Lately, it's been bad, but over the summer of last summer, I was surprised at how it kind of held its own, despite the other stuff opening. Maybe now that stuff's more established, it gets chipped into more at Bally's. But
all right,
I feel pretty good about Bally's staying open.
So I'll make you an offer then. I'll do it at your original 60% because I'm a nice guy. So you get $4 if it's still open, and I'll get $6 if it's not.
I think this is a good bet for you.
I think it's. I think so. I had it as right around 60% for it to be closed. I put 40% on my spreadsheet.
Yeah, I feel bad betting on the fate of a casino.
Yeah, but look, we have to do it sometimes when you have the itch.
So I have some stuff. I have some stuff that you can't quantify.
Well, here, let me ask a follow-up question. What are the odds that a casino other than Bally's closes down before episode 200? I
think pretty good.
Oh, you think so?
Because of Ocean. So I'm worried about it. So I think Ocean.
So I'll tell you my number because you went first last time, but I had it as 33% on my spreadsheet.
Oh, I was going to say 30. So I don't think Ocean will close. I think it will find a way to at least stay afloat. But the downside is it's owned by a hedge fund, and if shit starts to go south for them, it doesn't have to go south for all that long for them to just pull the plug. So I think it's one of those things where like I expect it to stay open, but like there's no scenario where it's like doing poorly and is still just like we can punch through and stay open. That's why I think it's more likely that it closes, even though I don't think it's going to close. And I don't know. So no action there. One thing I have. Playground sold and redeveloped in some capacity, either redone as a mall in some way or completely stripped and gutted. But Blatstein does not own Playground; someone else owns it and is doing something else with it.
I mean, it could be sold. Certainly, who knows how long Bart Blatstein's going to be around? But I don't like. What do you mean by like something else? I mean, it's going to always be a mall. Like, will it be a more successful mall maybe in the future? Like, yeah, maybe. Who knows? But it's not going to like fundamentally change what it is, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I just mean like, so when I said redeveloped, I think I mean, it could have been completely overhauled, but even just a more successful mall. So let's just say non-Blatstein owner of the playground.
I really have no idea because it just depends on how much the market comes back. If the market's pretty strong over the next few years, I think it's a lot more likely than if it's not. If it's not, I assume he's just going to sit on it and keep it.
Yeah, that's why I said 25%.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unlikely too. I think that sounds about right.
So should we do the same thing for Showboat? Non-Blatstein owner Showboat?
I'd guess it's probably about the same.
I think a little higher.
I'd probably even a little lower.
Really? No, I would go higher for Showboat because I think Showboat's a more desirable asset.
Okay. I mean, we can do... I will give you...
Say 60 to 30. Right, so 2 to 1?
Sure.
So should we just say, like, I don't know...
6 to 3.
6 to 3. So I get $6 if Showboat is not owned by Bart Blatstein.
Sure.
And you get $3 if it is.
Yes.
See, it's hard because I don't think it's a long shot, and you do. Mm-hmm. So in this case, like, we basically decided that you're the bookmaker.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because you could easily turn it around on me and be like, well, you have the favorite because you think it's the favorite.
No. That's fine.
All right. Okay, bookmaker Kyle.
That's right. So what else do you have on your list?
So I have stuff that's not really gambleable. Like Boardwalk has more stuff worth going out of your way for, like shops, restaurants, bars. You know, things like the beer garden, the Bungalow Beer Garden over by Tropicana. Arguably the expansion of the Land Shark Bar over at Resorts. I think it's going to get some of that gradually, but I think sort of it's still going to be mainly the peanut worlds and head shops and t-shirt shops of the world that are occupying that space. So I'm not very confident. I think like 5% in terms of something really a noticeable overhaul of the boardwalk.
It all comes down to that Toll Brothers property, man.
You're right.
It's the only hope.
So that's why. So clearly, the Toll Brothers property should be the bet, and we should just focus on that. And
there was that nice looking bar on the boardwalk for a while that neither of us ever went to.
That
I think is gone now.
American Craft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Justin S. actually tweeted at me, direct messaged me on Twitter saying, "Seems like that's gone." It's seasonal though, so it may be opening late for the season, but I
don't think so.
Nervous about that. It opened in like late May last year, so this one would be like a week later, but we'll see. They also have not posted anything anywhere since like October or September, whenever they closed. So who knows? We'll find out in a week. And do you have anything else that's actually actionable? Because I feel like I don't.
I mean, I have something, but I gave it a 0% chance of happening. So.
Well, okay. So do you want me to run through my last couple things?
Sure. Yeah.
Expansion of a walkable entertainment district beyond the boardwalk and outlets. Something like the Orange Line is the start of that.
Maybe, yeah, but I see how it's not actionable. But, yeah. I mean, certainly we've been doing work on Tennessee Ave, so hopefully it continues expanding.
Going beyond that, the pipe dream, Bourbon Street on Pacific Avenue. Super not confident.
Yeah, I know that's what they always talked about instead of doing drinking on the boardwalk, right?
Yeah, so I said less than 1%, but that's the pipe dream.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what's your 0% thing?
Well, so we already made this bet, but I said a new casino built or in progress. I mean, we made the bet for Showboat opening a new casino, but even like what I mean is like beyond that. You know, we've got that nice property next to Bally's. There's a few more spots. You know, someone could tear down the plaza and build something new there, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So it can't be like somebody buys Bally's.
No.
It has to be new construction.
It has to be a new casino. And whatever crappy thing they're going to maybe do at Showboat does not count because it's going to be crappy. And it's also not going to happen. So
I think it's more than 0.
Yes, I agree. It is strictly more than 0.
I don't know that it's more than like 2.
No.
But in the long term, I think it's possible. Much more possible. I just don't think it's going to happen by 2022. I don't think that's 3.5 years out. I think it's maybe 10 years out.
Yes. So a 49 to 1 shot, according to Craig. And I don't think that's a particularly bad line, so I'm not interested in action.
Okay. So I mean,
I would be, I guess, if you would give me $49 if it happened, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I just lose $1 for nothing.
Right. So similarly, I said 10 successful casinos. 10. We have 9 casinos of varying levels of success.
Do we even have? 9 successful casinos, I think, would be pushing it now.
Right. For sure. Again, I mean, there's no measurables on this. I wrote here 60%. I don't know what I was thinking, because clearly that's just wrong.
What?
Like, I guess I thought Showboat was going to open and just do gangbusters. That makes no sense. I don't know. Clearly, it's not
I will
6%.
take however large that bet is I'm allowed to make. I will take it.
What's that thing you're talking about, when you think you have the advantage, how much you should bet?
Oh, the Kelly criterion?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
What's your Kelly criterion on this? Still a billion? Infinite?
It would be, like, empty my savings accounts.
Yeah, I feel like I must have meant 9. But
yeah, 9 is more reasonable, but it just depends on what successful is.
Yeah. Anyways, so what
There
else?
definitely could be 9 casinos open, though.
What else do you have?
Well, so I've got a bunch more, but they're kind of more unrelated and not necessarily stuff we can really wager on. I mean,
Okay.
we can, but
Let's hear 'em.
so that was my Atlantic City related questions.
I don't even want to hear anything that's not Atlantic City related.
So now I have trip related questions.
Okay.
I have a line here. Number of trips we go on together in 2019. I put the over under at 3. I think 2.5 was too low. 3.5 would be like way too high. So
Over.
really, you think it's more likely that we do 4 than 2?
Wait, in 2019?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to say 20. I was thinking 2020. No, under.
Yeah. I mean,
It's going to be 2. It's going to be this.
It
and
would
one
be. It'll be 3. It will almost certainly be 3. I think, but
more. I think it's going to be 2.
yeah, it would be more likely to be 2 than 4. Certainly.
Anyways. Day trip in the summer would
Yeah.
could bump that.
I think we'll go one more time in the summer,
Yeah, that's a good point.
and then we'll go in the fall for sure.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's 3.
I think 3 is the right number.
I'm on board.
Yeah. So before episode 200, which hotel will you stay at the most? And I put Hard Rock for me, and I'm sure it's going to be Hard Rock for you.
Yeah, Hard Rock.
I mean, it has to be, right?
Bally's.
I mean, though, for me, certainly, which hotel did I stay at the most between episode 1 and 100? I think it was Tropicana by, like, a ridiculous margin.
Mine was Caesars, I'm pretty sure.
Oh. I think I stayed at Trop probably more than the rest of the casinos combined, maybe?
Wow, really?
It was a lot of Trop. It was a lot of West Tower in my life.
No, Caesars, I think, was a plurality for me. I stayed at a bunch of different ones, but...
It would be a plurality for me, too. But...
Well, you said more than all the other ones combined.
Yeah, it's not actually. But Trop should be number 1. So here's a more general question for you. You think in, let's just say 2022, will we, and this is a nebulous question, be going to Atlantic City more than we're going now? And certainly now.
Yes,
we haven't
absolutely.
been in 6 months. Like,
Sure.
But let's say like more than we went. In 2018, we went, what, 4 times?
Together?
I think we went 4 times the last 2 years.
2017, you and I went 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Uh-huh.
2018, you and I went 3 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you think we can beat 7 over a 2-year period? Maybe in like 22, 23?
yeah, I think that's
Okay.
good. That's what I think. No reason to be pessimistic about it.
No. But we're not trying to be optimistic. We're trying to find the real truth of the matter. All right. So do you have any questions that jog anything in your mind that you wanted to ask about before I go to my next category?
No.
Okay. So
Moving on.
now to the final category I have, and probably the final thing we'll talk about during the episode 100 extravaganza, podcast-related questions. So I don't know, you might be able to tell me the number of guests that we've had with the 2 of us. So this is just guests when we were both on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 5. I think it was Eric twice, Dr. Dave twice, and the AC Fan Expo guy, but it may have been 1 or 2 more. Does that sound right? Was it 5?
With the 2 of us. So
With
people
both
that
of
came
us,
on
yes.
with just you or just me.
No, that doesn't count.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a future question.
Yes,
I think it was
sure
those
that's
5.
right. Yes.
I'm going to feel really, really bad when we've forgotten someone.
Yeah,
But
and they're like, hey, I was on the show 4 times. No, I'm pretty sure you're right.
So it was 5 times then for this question in the first 100 episodes. I put the over-under as 5 in the second 100.
Over.
What do you think of that?
I think over.
You think it's going to be over?
Although,
you think
the
we'll have more
last,
guests on?
like, 50, it's gone.
It's been like 0 in the last 50.
Yeah, we haven't had any guests in a
No,
long
it has
time.
literally been 0 in the last 50. It was 5 in the first 50 and 0 in the second.
Yeah, but no, that's something I would like to try to do more often.
All right, so over 5?
Yeah, I'm going over.
All right. So then my follow-up question was the number of shows with only one of us, which I believe happened twice in the first 100 episodes. You and Cousin Vito and me and Eleanor from Route 40. I
Right.
believe those are the only 2.
Yep.
And they were both for due for a win paternity leave reasons.
Yeah.
Forced paternity leave.
So there's not going to be any more forced paternity leave, as we've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So
I put the over-under at 0.5.
For a guest that is on with only one of us.
Yes, for an episode that only has one of the two of us.
So this is some inside baseball, like, inner workings that nobody else hears about. I think it's going to be over, because I think I'm going to want to talk to somebody that you're going to just be like, I don't want to talk to that person.
You understand by saying this that I can never not be on an interview episode with you now after this, right?
Perfect. Then mission accomplished.
So I think both the over and the under are, like, very reasonable, but I think in the case that it's the over, like, I could foresee a world where there's actually, like, a bunch of these episodes, because, like, I think some idea is interesting and you think something is interesting, and we'd, like, do it a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that that's something that we should try to do.
Yeah, I don't think it would be bad, but
yeah.
Yet, at the end of the day, we're always just like, I guess we need to record this week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like, if we were really on top of our shit and trying to be journalistic in some way, we would be really going out and getting interesting guests on.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we're not interesting, so we should probably be working on that.
That's a good point.
All part of our world domination plans. All right, so you think it's going to be the over. That's your official guess. Over 0.5.
Absolutely.
All right. And I'm now never allowed to not be on an episode ever again.
Perfect.
All right. So in the first 100 episodes, I believe we had 2 shows that were recorded face-to-face. I think there was one in Hard Rock and one in Bally's. I set the over-under for number of shows recorded in person to 5 in the second
under
100 episodes.
Under.
You think so?
I think it's going to be 3 or 4.
But
I don't think
you certainly agree it's going to be more than in the first 100, though.
Yeah, because I think that was something that we didn't do until later. So I think our recency has been a higher frequency.
Yeah, and I think it's worked pretty well both times we've done it.
I mean,
I've had fun anyway.
I don't know how I can make the argument about that and then also make the argument that we're going to have more guests when I just said the recency means nothing about that. But that's the fun of this whole exercise, Kyle.
So, all right, my next question. In the first 100 episodes, we did not ever meet maybe Due for a Win podcast MVP, Mike C., the first person who ever interacted with us in any way when we started the podcast, right? You told me that a little bit ago.
First person, I have a spreadsheet that says some, like, firsts for the podcast, and one of them is the first person to let us know that they're listening, and it is Mike C. on Twitter.
So, unbelievable. We have not met him. Will we meet him before episode 200?
It seems unlikely.
You think? He makes his way out to things.
He does, but it hasn't happened yet.
So let me ask you another question. So
and we're also like hermits.
The number of podcasting events that we've been to in the first 100 episodes, and by we I mean either of us. I think it's just Zorkfest, and that's it. Yeah. The first one in Atlantic City.
Yeah. So we've met, like, you met Dr. Mike in DC, but that's not a podcast.
Sure. Yeah, no, that wasn't a podcast.
But we didn't go to any sort of, like,
I think.
Vimp. Yeah. We didn't do any of that stuff.
No.
Nerd Summit.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a thing that I'm ever going to do because it is always the weekend of my son's birthday. Yeah.
So what are you saying? An over and under? Over under?
So yeah, we did it once, I believe, in the first 100 episodes. Do you think we're going to do it more? And I think it relates back to will we meet Mike C, because that would be the place to do it at one of these events.
So I'm gonna go full contradiction again, and say, even though I said no to the first question, I'm going to say yes to this. I think we're going to do 2 or 3.
I think there'll be a few. I mean, certainly we had bad luck during the last Gamblepalooza, which, we'll see if there's any more Gamblepaloozas, but I think there's going to be some podcast events in Atlantic City. I think we will try our best to tag along and do it.
I'm optimistic about travel options freeing up as kids become less of a pain to deal with for one parent.
Yep.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
So how about, like, honest to God listener meetups? I think we had 2 in the first 100 episodes, both very early on, both at Bally's. How many do you think we're going to do?
No, we had the one Ed set up at Golden Nugget.
Oh, and the one Ed set up at Golden Nugget. Yes, at the dock, yes. So we had 3 real... and it was kind of a listener meetup at Ocean that time, too, right?
Yeah, so 4.
A listener meetup is defined as any place where I say, if you come, I will buy you a beer.
Okay.
That is what... the official ruling of what defines a listener meetup.
So wait, are you buying anyone a beer next weekend?
Yeah, if I see you, I'll buy you a beer. But
That's not a
I don't
beer.
think it's a
We-
listener
we
meetup
don't
because
have
I'm
a
not
set
expecting to see anyone. So
There's no set time.
Yeah.
So are you saying the over-under is 4? 4.5?
yeah, so it was what? It was 4 in the first 100.
Yeah. I'm going to go under. That's my take.
If we do more outings with other podcasters, though, that kind of counts too, right? It's listener meetups.
Ooh, that's a good point. But like, if we're just glomming onto someone else's meetup, it's not our meetup. It's not a Due for a Win meetup. Like, we can't go to Gamblepalooza and be like, welcome to this Due for a Win meetup. Kyle will buy you a beer. That's not how that works.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would, but
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it has
I've
to
been
be...
known to buy some buckets of beer every once in a while. So
I think it has to be like Due for a Win as the focal point. Not Due for a Win and other podcasts.
all right,
So,
fine.
that's how the world should work. Due for a Win is the focal point.
Yeah, Due for a Win is the focal point, isn't it?
Not these other podcasts, for sure.
All right, so you think we're gonna do less?
Yes,
then.
yeah.
That sounds right to me. All right, so speaking of Due for a Win is the focal point, I checked right before the episode, or episode allegedly, and no podcast statistics are accurate, I don't really think, but allegedly our episode with the highest listens was episode 90, which was titled Ocean Has Been Sold. It had 2,016 listens to it.
Which is actually a fallacy, because it wasn't sold. They just booted Bruce Tyvek.
Right.
May he rest in peace.
Too soon. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to crack, let's say, I don't even know what a reasonable number would be here for, like, highest listens in the next 100 episodes?
2,500?
That's certainly way too low, but...
Too low?
Yeah.
Wow, you're an optimistic
I'd
man.
say, like...
10,000?
That's probably too high. Like 5K?
5K? Unlikely. I don't see it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Way under.
You're such a pessimist, man.
It's a huge... That would be more than doubling our listener base.
Guess what? At episode 1, we had 0 listeners. Literal 0. So...
It's a good point. It's a really good point. We've grown infinite.
Yes.
And, if you extrapolate, really, there's just an incalculable number of listeners to episode 180 or whatever.
We the number will be between 0 and 7 billion.
Over.
Yeah.
Off the charts.
All
No,
right.
I don't think we're getting to 5,000.
You don't think so?
I think there's a cap on.
You think we've reached the hard cap, and this is it?
I don't think
is
we've
what it
reached
is?
it, but I don't think the cap is that high.
Yeah.
Which is part of why we have not monetized. So I just don't
So
think there's money to be made.
the next question I was going to ask is the odds we make a penny on the podcast between episode 100 and 200.
We made $10 each.
Oh, we did make $10 each, but that wasn't intentionally done.
The odds we intentionally monetize anything?
Yeah.
So low.
Yeah. I put 10%, but I think that's actually way too high.
Yeah, no, that's too high.
I mean, I could see a world, maybe. No, I can't see that world, actually. Never mind.
So 0%. Because you're gonna
I was going to say, I could
whatever.
see a world where we try to organize some sort of official gambling thing in Atlantic City. I don't want to call it Gamblepalooza or something like that, but I mean, even if we did that, like, I would try to do it in a way such that we still weren't monetizing it. So
Yeah, I mean, it would either be for complete break even or it would be like a charity thing.
the only way it would ever be monetized is if you vastly underestimate our number of listeners, and even then, like, I still don't think it'll happen. So
Yeah. No, I just don't see how there's a big enough
come on, Craig,
base to make it worth it.
think about all those Patreon dollars.
That's a good point. People are begging to give us money, Kyle.
I bet if we started a Patreon, we would make at least like
$20 a month.
$8 an episode. Yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah.
$20 a month. That sounds right.
I think that's right where we'd be at. If only we were starting one, we could bet on it.
All right. So do you have anything else? I have one more question, but it's got to be the last question.
No, I don't have any. I don't have any other questions except for the news, which we can wait on.
Yeah, the news will wait until episode 101, unless episode 101 is just a trip report. Then I can wait till episode 102. But the final question, the one that has to be last, what do you think are the legitimate odds that we make it to episode 200?
95%. 98%.
Really?
Extremely high.
You think so?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I think.
Let's be honest. We are Atlantic City podcasters that have not stepped foot in the city for 6 months.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering, like, it's been mostly every 2 weeks, but it's been like 15, 16 days the last few episodes. So I do sort of wonder if people are like, these guys are running on fumes. Like, this is it for them. And so my wife asked, like, did you ever think you'd get to 100 when you started? And I said, I thought that we'd get to 100, but it would be like really wrapping it up. Like, I thought 100 would be like, that's probably like about where this thing ends, where this road ends. But no, I don't feel any reason. I mean, I could see episode 200 being in like 2024 instead of 2022.
Yeah.
But I do think we get to 200.
So really 90 or 95%.
Yeah, I think 90%.
I mean, this is not something we can bet on, given that we are both kind of parties to the bet.
Right.
And completely affect the outcome.
And you are such that you would totally just be like, I'm canceling.
I would just be like, I quit.
199. I quit.
Yep.
It's done. Give me my.
It's worth the $5. Give me my $5.
We won't monetize our podcast for 200 episodes. Give me my fucking $5. I'll cancel the podcast right now.
I'm surprised. I put it at 75%. So I think 90 or 95 is too high. I mean, I think there's a lot of, like, who knows where interest will lie or whatever, but certainly now I'm still having a lot of fun. And
So here's the long shot odds. What are the odds that before we get to 200 podcasts, 200 episodes, we've canceled this podcast and started a totally different podcast about something else?
I don't know what that thing would be. I don't know how many interests we share that deeply in a lot of ways.
Just minute by minute, the entire game history of Shining Force.
Yeah. It's just a podcast of we play Shining Force.
Yeah,
just
play
over and over
by play,
again.
like every Shining Force game, all the way from Shining in the Darkness for Sega Master System.
Listen to Craig lose at this battle like 8 times in a row.
This battle, it's like easy mode, not even hard. Ah, man. Hey, man, it's not my fault. I want to use yogurt in every battle. Oh, nobody's gonna get that at all. It's
not impossible that we start another podcast, but I don't think it would be at the expense of Due for a Win.
Okay,
We should
interesting.
do 2, Craig.
That's true.
2 podcasts. We could expand our empire to make even more money than we're making now.
I think that's a good way to wrap
Imagine
up
how much money we're making from our Chickies and Pete's sponsorship and double it.
It would be a crab fries podcast. Ooh, Cheap's Will ranking podcast every week.
Kyle Craig's Crab Fries podcast brought to you by Chickies and Pete's Crab Fries.
Yeah. No, every week we each buy a 12-pack.
Hosted in the Crab Fry studio.
Some garbage beer like Busch Light. We pick a different one every week. There's just tons out there. And we give like detailed tasting notes. But every week it's the same because all the beers taste the same.
Yeah.
It's like this one tastes
like this tastes like water with like a little bit of pee in it.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, that's what I have too.
I love it, oddly. I think
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
It's pretty good, but
could use a little more pea flavor.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe a little less.
Yeah. This one tastes a little weedy. It's a little bit of wheat pea.
The guy that peed in this can needed to not be quite as dehydrated before he did so.
Wow. It's taking a turn. So, is that episode 100?
I think that's it. What else can we end on, man?
Dehydration pee? I mean, I feel like we should thank some people. Mainly everyone who listens to the podcast. People we should thank the most for listening to 100 of these damn things.
I know. How many people have listened to 100? Very few.
Probably.
I have listened to all 100, I have to say.
So have I.
I've listened to 99, but I will listen to 100.
You should probably skip this one. So, yeah, I mean, everybody who listens, anybody who's taken the time to interact with us on Facebook or Twitter or email, anybody who sends us stuff on Facebook and Twitter, I think, all the people who
send Craig things and get ignored.
Yeah, that too. But like people who are in Atlantic City and think to themselves like, oh, hey, Serial Town's closed. I should let Due for a Win know.
Yes.
Or this thing's opening. I should let Due for a Win know. Like those people are awesome. I mean, we mention them every week. All the Twitter and Facebook MVPs as we call them.
Yeah, man.
Mike C. We've mentioned Mark C. Jim from New York, aka
Yeah.
Chauncey, WOV,
Justin,
Megan K, Snickers 99
Yeah.
Poker, aka or tripreports.com.
but not Megan K because she posted everything AC.
That's a good point. Ed, for friend of all the podcasts, Ed. I think
Friend of
deserves-
every podcast.
Yeah, deserves
Ed.
mention. Yeah, I hate actually naming people because I know I'm going to forget people. But really,
Go on.
anybody who we've mentioned in the past 100 episodes as like, hey, thanks for posting stuff on Twitter that we know about. John B. just recently posted about the Facebook
all
group.
podcast MVP, John B.
That's true. So
The GOAT of podcasts.
we've mentioned all the people who have had us on their podcasts. Well, we mentioned all the people who've been on the podcasts. Eric Rosenthal, David G. Schwartz, Eleanor Comley, Cousin Vito. Those are the people who have come on the show.
AC Fan Expo guy. Come on.
People who have had us on. Travel Fanboy had you on. Vegas
Yeah,
Confessions
and
had
you.
me on. Oh, yeah, you're right. He had me on also. I said, okay.
What the hell?
I feel like it was less notable than your appearance. Vegas Confessions had me on. Cousin Vito had me on. Macaucast had you on. Hunter, Han, and Eric all deserve mention.
Oh, yes, Hunter, Han, and Eric. Han, always the MVP of giving constructive criticism.
Yeah, I mean, I think
The GOAT at that.
there are just a ton of podcasts in this community and a ton of them that make the community great and really too many to name because I think there are literally too many to name. But,
No, like literally, there's too many to name.
But, I mean, You Can Bet on That is like kind of the inspiration to us all, I think. Currently, there are the OGs, like 500, Vegas Gang, Vegas Tripping. I'll throw Wizard of Odds in there, even though it's not a podcast, but certainly.
Certainly, it was super important in our gambling upbringing.
Yeah, I mean, I should mention anybody who's like come up and met up with us and said hi or encouraged us along the way. Like that's been extremely helpful and satisfying and kind of amazing to realize like people actually listen to us.
It is great. I mean, I've gotten some really amazing feedback from people on Facebook, and obviously, given that we've talked about how we don't monetize, which, believe it or not, all of the free press I give to Chickies and Pete's, they don't pay me for.
In Crab Price, they give you crab fry coupons with purchase.
Hard to believe. But, I've had some very, very nice comments from people about just the podcast and about, maybe changing the way they think about some situations. And that's super awesome and important to me.
Yeah. I mean, worth mentioning Joe and Barbara from the Everything AC Casinos group for running that just massive Facebook group, and everybody in that group who posts informative stuff. It really is a resource for me to look and find stuff that's going on because, like we've mentioned, we haven't been to AC in a long time. So having a bunch of people there just posting constantly and saying like, oh, hey, I'm at this thing, this thing's open, this thing's not open. Why are the hours so crappy on this thing? Like all that stuff is information that I use in trying to fill out the agenda for the podcast. But
to the innumerable number of people I ban from our Facebook group every week for posting crap that pisses me off.
No thanks to them. But I think sort of the unsung heroes of the podcast, if there can be heroes for such a lowly podcast as us, is the reporters and the people on the ground in Atlantic City covering casino industry, gambling, city news. Currently, David Danzis and Nick Cuba at the Press of Atlantic City, formerly Ruben Kramer, who was there when we started this thing.
Yeah.
Christian Hedrick, who was at the Press of Atlantic City, who's now at the Philly Inquirer.
Amy S. Rosenberg from the Philadelphia
Inquirer. Wayne Perry from the Associated Press. I'll mention Buzz Keogh from
Bill and Eleanor
from the Press of Atlantic City, just because editors get forgotten all the time. Yeah, Eleanor and Bill from Route 40. Roger Gross at Global Gaming Business. John Brennan, who used to be at the Bergen Record, is now at usbest.com. Daryl McEwen, 7 Stars Insider.
Daryl McEwen.
Mr. AC Casino.
Drove me and you from resorts to Caesars on a snowy day.
Yeah, worth a mention. Mel Taylor, AC Primetime. Linda Cohen, BreakingAC.com. All the PlayNJ.com people, Steve Ruddick, Grant Lucas, all post good information. Yeah, I mean, all those people, like, there's no podcast without them because they're the ones who are actually, like, calling up and asking people questions and stuff. Like, we don't have context. We don't have a Rolodex. We can't call Bart Blatstein and be like, hey, what the hell's going on with Showboat? Like, that's just not an option that we have. Frank Morano, who had me on, like, he is interested in AC. He gets to have Bart Blatstein on his show. All these people are doing work that we can't really do because we have full-time jobs and, lack of access. So they definitely deserve major kudos and thanks for what we do because, we don't have a show without them doing their work.
Yeah, but really, I think for both of us, most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. We wouldn't do it if not for you all. And, it's been an awesome trip the last 3.5 years. And hopefully we are around until episode 200, and hopefully you all are as well.
Yeah, though now we know you think there's a 25% chance that we won't make it, which is really sad.
Yeah, well, deal with it.
90%.
See, you think there's a 10% chance it doesn't happen.
That's way lower than 25.
Which is sad.
That's true.
If you would like to reach out to us or any of our other amazing listeners, you can do so at facebook.com/group/do4win, which, as a reminder, is where you post your Atlantic City related news. Not everything AC. You can find all of our wonderful content, which is essentially just our podcast at do4win.com.
Links to stuff, man. There's links to stuff in the podcast show notes.
You can also get that from your podcast player, which you can use iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, or whatever your podcatcher of choice is.
We're not on Spotify. I should rectify that.
Yeah, man.
I need to fix that.
What am I paying you for?
Nothing. You're paying me nothing.
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
You can reach out to Craig on Twitter at DoForWin or me at Kyle Askin, or you can send Craig questions at doforwin@gmail.com. And again, just thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you at some point. And hopefully if any of you are around on Friday, really just reach out to us. This is next Friday, the 14th. Reach out to us and let us know, and we'll try to meet up, especially if you're in the north part of the boardwalk.
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, email, I'll get it. If I'm really drunk,
you won't get a response, though.
I might be really drunk and not respond. So just assume if you don't get a response, it's because I'm,
Yes. Just like all of the people who've been emailing for the last month, Craig has been consistently really drunk, and that's why he has not responded.
That's true. That's a good point.
All right. Thank you guys very much, and we'll talk to you sometime, eventually. Maybe.
Never.
Have you listened to any of our early episodes?
Oh my god, yes. Listening back to them, it's horrific.
No, I have not. Before episode 50, I remember I listened to episode 1.
No, that's a mistake.
But that is when I cared about the podcast.